let us get into the business of today, and let me begin by welcoming Mr. Tamuka Macheka to give us a brief presentation on the Atlas Convention and what it means. I'm sure most of you have heard of Joseph Shooter. He's a leading thinker in terms of innovation, and he says carrying out innovations is the only function which is fundamental in history. What part are you playing in this part of history? Mr. Macheka.
Thank you, MC or Director of Ceremony. Since we've got a number of directors, we're just elevating you to level of Director of Ceremony. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Prof. Tagwira, thank you for coming and for being our guest of honor. The United Nations Resident Coordinator in Zimbabwe, Ms. Maria Ribeiro, thank you for coming. I am sure this is your first event after successfully presenting your designation to His Excellency. We want to congratulate you and to welcome you to Zimbabwe. We look forward to working with you more as we go forward. I'm sure we'll be sharing more with you even as we go along. I also want to acknowledge the directors of the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary here present, Ministry of Industry, Ministry of ICT, and we also have our colleague in the battle of the business, the President of the Zimbabwe Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, Mr. Ruzhidzo, and the Chair of Innovation, Doc, thank you for coming. We really appreciate. Other captains of industry here present, our partners, members of the media, welcome and good morning. I just want to give you, maybe on my left there is a presentation that will be running, and also on my right there is a presentation running. So I will be probably moving slightly from here so that we can follow through the presentation together. But when you look at that, I'm sure you can see what we have in that picture. It's also on the banners. For those that cannot see the pictures, you can actually see on the banners. When you look at that picture, this is like a robot or something like that, and behind there is a whole lot of activity taking place. Something that resembles agriculture, tourism, mining, manufacturing, some science, but at the middle of it, you actually have the logo of, should I say, government or the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary. It simply shows that there is global space. For instance, there is African Continental Free Trade Agreement coming into effect in July 2020. Are we ready for that? What sort of possibilities, what sort of opportunities does that create for the regional and international science or scientists? So this is very, very critical as we go forward. And I'll just take you through the presentation. And when you look at the format of my presentation, we'll talk about that Atlas Convention framework, the key features of the integrated initiative, objectives, then Atlas Innovation Challenge. We'll just explain a bit about it. Atlas Convention, we'll just explain that, and then the Atlas Innovation Index, then calendar of events. If there are any questions, probably we'll take them right at the end. And this is what is very critical. We are saying this is a multi-pipeline approach that we are using. And when you look at that, it's taking time because it also takes time to build synergies. And this is the framework that we have. We are working on a multi-pipeline approach, which actually is a bridging concept, and we are bridging academia and industry. We are bridging industry and government and academia. So this whole thing should actually work together to lead us into what we need to achieve. And this is operating within the scope of the global perspective. And Sagit is just there as a platform. And because of that, we actually have an MOU that we've signed with the ministry to ensure that we cover as much as possible. So this is what we are looking at in terms of the approach. The key features of the integrated initiative. There is the Atlas Innovation Challenge. Atlas Innovation Challenge, as you can see, is a challenge. We are basically saying academia will come up with the projects, and these projects are actually prototypes that they develop. When they develop prototypes, these prototypes should be able to be converted into commercial products. They should be commercialized. We are saying gone are the days when people will just study for a degree or a diploma and they just write or carry out some what do you call it? It's a project. A dissertation at the end of the course, just to fulfill the requirements of the course, right? And at the end of it, if you ask them 1 year, 2 years down the line, they can't even remember what their dissertation was all about. Now we are saying you need to develop a project or a product that can actually be produced into a tangible product and can be exported. It can be used locally, it can be exported. So we are saying our education should produce value. Our education should drive. I'm sure you've always heard that coming from the minister or from the ministry saying academia should cause industry. And as industry, representing ZNCC, Mr. Regizo representing CZI, we are saying yes, honestly, we want academia to cause us. So we cannot say cause us when we are not available. So industry is available, but we work within the framework or the government framework. For instance, government, we're talking about the ministry there, and they are saying we want to cause industry. So there is now that sort of bridging between that. And Sagit is just providing that sort of framework. In fact, when we start doing that, you will see, even in your mind, you will see these wheels turning. And you will see that flag also turning, which means Sagit is providing a platform which will turn the economy of the country forward. So that is the first step. The second step is, okay, maybe let me just share while we're still on that, on the innovation challenge. So this innovation challenge, once the students come up with their projects, they will upload the projects on a platform that we are launching. On the 25th, it will be live. They can actually log on and register their project so that it cannot be duplicated by somebody else somewhere. Once it's on the platform, it cannot be registered again by somebody else because it's already on the platform. And that innovation challenge will then have the awards towards the end where we are going to exhibit that. So projects will be uploaded by the 25th from academia. We are starting even with the six universities that have been targeted for innovation hubs. And for those that have been wondering what these innovation hubs are about, I'm sure you hear from the ministry issues about that. So we'll move from the innovation challenge to Atlas Convention in 2020 in March. Atlas Convention, we are basically bringing now the academia, we are bringing industry, we are bringing international and regional players together. We'll be at the another international conference center where we'll be showcasing or exhibiting those projects rather. And these projects, at that stage, they will be ready to be taken or to be moved to industrial parks for production into proper products or proper machines for industry, ready for industry. As you can see, this picture shows like a new industry. We are saying a lot of industry right now have been closed or have closed for one reason or the other. So academia should cause industry, which means they must cause new industries to be opened. For those industries that have been closed and they cannot be resuscitated, academia should look at them, revisit them, see what they were doing, and not necessarily manufacture the same old type equipment. Come up with new initiatives to produce the same products, if not better. By so doing, they will be able to address issues that have to do with sustainable development goals. We are talking about quality education, we are also talking about life. So when you look at the sustainable development goals, you deal with poverty, you deal with hunger by creating industries that function. You also talk about employment by creating industries that are proper. So that is what will be happening at the Atlas Convention. And we actually have relations or MOUs that we have signed with Emirates Foundation, where they are also going to participate. In fact, they've even offered to sponsor 6 projects from Zimbabwe, paid for, and they just want those projects to be exhibited during Think Science Convention in Dubai. So we are also talking, we're also linking with the global space. Then the United Nations and Zimbabwe, we are now talking about the Atlas Innovation Index. And when you look at that, it's not by coincidence, I'm sure, that we have got the president pushing the Vision 2030, Zimbabwe attaining the upper middle income economy by 2030. And I was asking myself the other time, why 2030? Is it not too close? And I realized that we need to quickly attain upper middle income status and move on to the next level. Because upper middle is not at the top. It means we need to quickly move to the next level. So, but at the same time, you also have the UN Sustainable Development Goals 2030. So that by 2030, if we work together, academia, we work together, industry, we work together with UN, we will be able to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. By so doing, the livelihoods of the people of Zimbabwe would have obviously moved. So it is very important for us to do that. What are our objectives? It is to create a vibrant working synergies between the industry and academia for sustainable science research, innovation, and technology that is mutually beneficial. So the word that you can underline there is sustainable. Everything that we do must be sustainable. It is very important. The second objective is to create a very strong local cross-sector presence as well as an international value-based network of partnerships that drive innovation and technology. That's why already we have got an agreement with Emirates Foundation through Think Science. We also have an arrangement with Silicon Valley, because during the convention, Silicon Valley will also be represented. During some of the split sessions, we actually have members from there presenting. So it is very important for us to link with the global players. Then in terms of services, we're talking about world-class standards to create a working framework that allows continual evaluation aimed at building world-class standards on services and products for local consumption as well as import and export. So we're talking about imports, we're talking about export. There is import substitution that we always talk about, Mr. Ruzizo will confess to that. We need to reduce our import bill through import substitution. But we are also saying we need import substitution through machinery. Machines that we want to import, we should actually be able to produce them in our universities and colleges so that we do not import. Because what we are importing probably from another country, I will not mention which country, from that country, that same product was produced by a student at some university. So why import something from another student when you have got thousands of students in Zimbabwe being churned out? So we want to be able to facilitate and help ours to also produce. Then in terms of the products, to identify products that can be manufactured locally to capacity, and the import framework of the needed machines technology for local industry. Right, the last one is only 5 objectives that we have. Then machine technology. It's basically linking with the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, where the policy on industrialization was launched, and we are running with that right now to identify areas for localization of production of machines technology, including commercializing local innovations, which can be used by local industries for local manufacturing. So how are our students or young people going to play a part in the African continental free trade, for instance? One of the ways is for them to commercialize their innovations. It's one of the ways that they can actually participate, and participate effectively or fully. Because if you want to export cabbages, there's so many people producing cabbages. So you would rather go into an uncharted territory where you produce or you convert your innovation into a product that can be exported elsewhere. In terms of the innovation challenge, our patron is the Honorable Minister of Industry, Honorable Minister of Higher and Tertiary, Professor Mudwira is the patron of the Innovation Challenge, because this is about all the universities and colleges, and they are playing part. But within that same context, we are now talking about, that's why you see those sustainable development goals there, and you see the leading institutions in terms of innovation. Where these are not the only institutions we are dealing with, it's all the institutions. But you have got the ministry, you have got Sagit, you have got UN through Sustainable Development Goals, and you have got the key or leading institutions. This is what is driving Atlas Innovation Challenge. All right. So how are we going to roll out the challenge? The portal will open on the 25th, like I said before. It's open to all innovative ideas related to applied science, technology, and non-technology innovation. On this one, let me mention at this stage that some of you, if you have got innovations, it is not too late. We may be talking about institutions or universities, it is not too late. Although the bulk of us in here, those that are 45 and above, I'm sure you are aware, you are like digital. They call, not me, they call you digital immigrants. Digital immigrants always want to refer to something physical. I belong to that generation. That's why I started on paper, then I came to digital. But we are mainly talking to the digital natives, those that were born in this space where they cannot do without a smartphone, they cannot do without WhatsApp, they cannot do without Wi-Fi. They would rather stay in a very poor or bad hotel where there is Wi-Fi than in a 5-star hotel where there is no Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi means everything to them. So this is the generation that we are targeting. For most of you, if you don't have internet, you don't mind. You will see emails when it's available. But some cannot actually live without. So that's the generation we are looking at. So we are saying we open that portal and they will be able to play in that space, dealing or solving the SDG issues. Education institutions to exhibit selected innovations and prototypes. The emphasis is on prototypes. Companies can shop for innovations to invest in before, during, and after the Atlas Innovation Convention. This is very important. Mr. Ruzwizo, in his factory, he will be able to look or to log on to the platform and look at innovations that are coming. And say, okay, there's this student at Hicc. This student is working on this project or product, and this product can actually help me in my factory. So I'm going to support this student to come up with this product so that it can be manufactured, it can be produced into an actual product, and that will reduce expenses for them. So they should be able to shop for innovations to invest in. Obviously, the issues to do with protection, intellectual property will be covered, because we are also dealing with that. And all innovations must have working prototypes and external committee to judge innovations. Some of you will be part of that. Winning teams to exhibit at the Think Science Fair from 18 to 23 April in Dubai. So because you are here, if you have your project, for instance, you can log on in to 18, you will be in Dubai, exhibiting your product. All expenses paid for. All you need to do is to carry your brain and explain. Expenses covered. Then Atlas Convention, just a quick rundown. We will start with the Atlas Golf Tournament. And that event is like a networking event where we're bringing players together to cover, to network just before. This is like our starter. So mostly the people that will participate are from industry, and we'll be saying, industry, please support Atlas Convention, come and exhibit, come and see the exhibitions, come and see the projects, come and see solutions to sustainable development goals being exhibited at the HICC. And they will come and see those projects, but it will be through the Atlas Golf Tournament. Then Atlas Convention, Atlas Innovation Challenge projects, exhibitions, masterminds, presentations, so they will be in the foyer there. Then executive breakfast meetings or split sessions will be covering different areas or different topics. Some of them will be chaired by the people that we know. Some of them, that's where people from Silicon Valley will be taking part. That's where people from UN will be taking part in terms of dealing with the issues to do with sustainable development goals. Then Atlas Convention Awards will have an awards dinner where we have got those categories for innovations, and we are going to have winners. So out of these winners, that's when we will have projects to send to Dubai, some of them to Silicon Valley. And the last part will be the Atlas Innovation Index. We are saying right now we cannot measure the level of innovation in our country. But they normally say if you can't measure it, then it doesn't exist, or forget about it. So we need to be able to measure, we need to be able to track where we are. In some countries they are there, but this will be the first for our country, and we are working on this together with the ministry. So it's something that has got a lot of research going into it. It will be something that is very credible, because that's what we are looking at in terms of innovation index. So it captures all the outcomes of the annually held events, but this Atlas Convention will be an annual event. It's aimed at fostering inclusive collaboration across all economic sectors, creating an environment in which innovation factors are continually evaluated and providing a key tool for decision makers. So when it comes to innovation, even our parliamentarians should be able to smoothen the environment and promote innovation. We are excited that even His Excellency in one of the meetings said, for as far as the research is concerned, a certain percentage of the budget must be earmarked for research. And without research, there is no development. So it is very important for us to promote that. And then build a rich database of detailed metrics refining innovation policies for a more diverse industry and export portfolios. Right. So this is what we are talking about when we talk about the Atlas Innovation Challenge. What is in the pipeline going forward from today? Today is just the launch of this. And going forward, what's coming? On the 25th, we said the online registration portal opens. On the 30th of March, the Atlas Golf Tournament, it will be at Chapman. Then 31st to the 2nd of April, Atlas Convention, where prototypes will be exhibited here. And on the 18th to the 23rd of April, Think Science. So this is the short-term calendar that we have. After that, we'll then be sharing more information on developments. So these are the issues that we have lined up. I looked at there was a question that I was asked at some stage when we were sharing about this. Okay, there are those students, people that are still young, they belong to the digital native group, but probably they graduated last year before this was launched. Are they open to participate? And the answer was yes, indeed, because those ones, they've even experienced issues around and they may be eager to find solutions for challenges that are affecting our economy. So it's also open. So within the portal that we are talking about, students who are in universities, they'll be able to register theirs. Those that left college, I don't know how many years ago, they'll also be able to register their projects. The elderly, you also be able to register your products. Yeah. The only thing that will manage is that we would not want at times Manchester United to compete with the Yada football club. We will try and manage that to see the categories where people will be participating. But even when you look at the industries that are affected, when you talk about industry, we're not only talking about manufacturing. For instance, tourism, we've got gateway streams. We're saying come up with innovations that can cause tourists to spend more nights in this country, so that we actually have more money left in the country. So there is no industry that cannot participate. We want innovations that can actually cause that. Then, out of the sustainable development goals, I'm glad we have gotten the resident coordinator with us, because we started the conversation a long time ago with the former resident coordinator. And he was also very excited about things that are practical, that we need to find solutions. We don't want to just learn, we want solutions. Nobody will come and provide solutions. We must actually provide those solutions. So I'm glad we'll have more time to share the initiatives or innovations with the resident coordinator as we go forward. But thank you very much for listening. I know she had said a short presentation, but that's the definition of short. Thank you very much.